They're all coming back. Then I'm going to try my Canvas, which I can start now. Come on. It's still not loading. Wow. Awfully strange. Yeah. Yeah, it errored again. All right. I can still do some things even without my Canvas. I'll try again. Yeah. Let me think. All right. Actually, it's not many of us that are here. It's only 3 of you. I will check again. Other people may have technical problems getting back on. Okay, let me try one more time. But it's not loading. Okay, this is not sure who that is because they're on their cell phone. I have to see who I admitted in. As soon as they come in, I'll ask who they are. Is that Brandon? The prophecy?
No,
Yeah.
it's me, Zafira.
Who is it?
Zafira.
Oh, okay. Let me mark you in. Oh, okay. You're in. I marked you in. Yeah, Zafira, I'm having technical problems. My Canvas is not loading. So what I do, yeah, is how many of you are interested in that extra credit? Here's Brandon. I'm letting Brandon in now. Yeah, when it comes to that extra credit, if you go to assignments, you will see that you will get 3 extra points added to the end of your final numerical grade. That means after I've averaged all your grades together, and if you successfully completed the case studies. I had students last semester complete the case studies and all their calculations were wrong. So how can I give you extra credit for information that's not accurate? So I'll try in a few minutes to see if I can get into Canvas, but I'll talk you through the exercise, or no, I may be able to do this without Canvas. Yeah, let me go in here and open, yeah, because I have things saved. So give me a second. Let me find my assignments. I'm going to go into here. I'm going to go into 106 and okay. Here we go. And then I'll share the screen. All right. So let me share my screen and you will see. Here we go. So You should see nutrition care process, correct? And let me admit 2 more people. Margaret is joining us, so I'll mark her in. Okay. So if someone can unmute, tell me, yes, you do see nutrition care process.
Yes, I see it.
Very good. So from here, I'm going to pick up where I left off last week. Oh, another question. Do I have any lesson plan presenters, or did everyone present last week? Any presenters? I think we finished up. Okay. If that's the case, no one's speaking up, we will proceed with me going through the nutrition care process. I know I went through all of this information. Where I stopped was the calculations. Now, this is available in Canvas, okay? This is available in Canvas. And this is calculating someone's ideal body weight. It's based on scientific data. Not everyone does this formula. Should we be applying it to everyone? Let me put it that way. It's based on, I guess, healthy Americans. And we have small frame, medium frame, large frame. It's not accurate for athletes. It's not necessarily accurate for elderly people who have lost some lean muscle mass. So when I assess someone's nutritional status, I typically do calculate an ideal body weight, but what's more important is their usual body weight. What is the weight that they usually weigh when they're healthy? And I have them go back, a year ago, 6 months ago, and I asked them what was their weight a year or 6 months ago, and I compare that weight to their current weight that day. Now, yes, there are people who diet and they intentionally lose weight. There are athletes that are lifting weights or just using their muscles a lot, and therefore they build more muscle mass, and muscle mass weighs more than your fat mass, okay? Yeah, fat weighs, but the more muscle you have, muscle weighs more. I want you to be definitely reading your chapter. And again, I can't get into Canvas, so I don't have our course outline in front of me. I'll try to go in there, but you should be studying your chapters on weight. There's a chapter on weight, and that information will be available as far as your body composition. So your weight consists of course, bone. So we all have a different bone structure. We have some people that are small framed, meaning that you're generally short in stature. You generally have a just small body frame. And we are able, for women, we generally measure your wrist circumference, just about where my watch is located. And in inches, if the female's wrist in inches is 6 inches, we consider them a medium frame. I can also look at the cheekbone to see if you have broad cheekbones, meaning that you have a very round face. And generally, that's because of the cheekbones being wider, giving your face that rounder shape. And again, that makes you possibly a larger frame. So if the wrist size is more than 6 inches for the female, large frame. Again, I can look at the broadness of the cheekbone. I can look at pelvic expansion. I can check the bones in your legs. Usually, maybe your knees or bone is broad. So if you're under 6 inches, you're a small frame. Please write this down, because if you want to complete the case studies, you may not calculate the ideal body weight correctly if you do not take in consideration small, medium, or large frame. A medium frame is just the formula as it is. So this is based on a medium frame, but it says add 10% if the person has a large frame. Subtract 10% if the person has a small frame. If frame size is unavailable, assume a medium frame, okay? Now, if the frame size is not available in a case study, you look at their current weight. And if their current weight puts them obese, or if they're overweight, I give them a large frame. I just say to heck with it. The ideal body weight doesn't have that much bearing on it, meaning it's not the most important weight, that ideal body weight. It's what that person's usual body weight is. The usual body weight, again, if someone lost weight unintentionally because of an illness, they had a lack of appetite, then that's very important for us to address. If someone gained weight unintentionally, they gained weight, that's something that we definitely should be concerned about. Going back to ideal body weight, if it is a female, you start with 100 pounds for their first 5 feet, and 5 feet is 60 inches. So if we have a female that's 5'2", she's 100 pounds, she's 2 inches over 5 feet. For every inch over 5 feet, you add 5 pounds. So she should be 110. Does everybody see that? 100 pounds for 5 feet. She's 5'2". 2 times 5 is 10. 110 pounds. That's for a medium frame. If that female is a small frame, you subtract 10%, which would be, let's go ahead and subtract 11 pounds. Subtract 11. So 110 minus 11, I believe that is that 99? Let me get my calculator. Everybody get their calculators out. Hopefully you have them handy. I just don't want to quote you anything wrong. Yes, small frame, 99 pounds. 5'2" female, small frame, 99 pounds. Medium frame, 110. If she's a large frame, meaning her wrist size is over the 6 inches in circumference, I would take the 110 and add 11, 121 pounds. Any questions about calculating a female's ideal body weight? Let's take another example. If she's 5'5", first 5 feet, 100 pounds. 5 times 5 is 25. Medium frame, 125 pounds. So I know some of you are probably calculating your height and calculating ideal body weights and saying, oh my gosh, I'm not at my ideal body weight. Remember, it's not a realistic calculation for everyone. I look at usual body weights and start from there. So if your usual body weight is overweight or obese, then we talk about, if you want to gradually lose weight, we come up with a plan on how to gradually lose weight. But it's perfectly okay if someone is over their ideal body weight. It depends on how much over you are, okay? That's the bottom line. So we don't walk around and say, oh, this person's a perfect weight and perfect this. It's what's healthy for you. A weight is very individual. It really is very individual.
Yes,
So,
Professor, because this is Margaret. Hi, Professor.
yes,
Yes, I remember for many years when I was 118 and I'm actually 5'2".
yes.
I
You
was so
were you were right there, weren't you?
no, I'm happy because right now I I gain more weight. That makes me more energetic and more able to do stuff because I
Okay.
was eating way less than what I'm supposed to eat. So that was horrible when I was 118. I was so weak. I was so lazy and many stuff. So yeah,
Yes.
when I put on weight, that's better.
You felt,
That was better.
and you probably came up with the reason. You said you weren't eating enough. Yeah. So if you're not eating enough, you're not going to feel energetic. You're going to feel tired. You're going to even be weak. Yeah. You're gonna, so again, that's not a healthy body weight. It's not a healthy body weight. Now, if you wanted to maintain that 118, that 120, possibly if you had focused on nutrient-dense foods, getting your calories in, also exercising, that weight could have become healthier for you, possibly. Again, when I work with a client, we look at several alternatives here. Because I do have some people say, oh, I really want to be 118. I don't want to be more than that. And of course, when I calculate their ideal body weight, they're within their ideal body weight. So it's up to that individual, but we don't look at weight alone. No, your weight can be ideal and you can be unhealthy. Yeah, you definitely can. Yes, and I'm glad you added that, Margaret. I'm really glad.
Thank you.
Now let's look at a male. First 5 feet, 106 pounds. We give that male an extra 6 pounds, not just to make that person happier. It's because the male is typically has a larger frame, their bone structure larger, and more muscle mass in general. Now, if you're looking at an unhealthy male, he may not have a lot of muscle. He may have, muscle wasting and not be healthy and be within that ideal body weight. So again, we have to look at all factors. But let's go back to the male. First 5 feet, 106 pounds. For every inch over 5 feet, we add 6 pounds. 6 pounds. So you have to remember the formula. So if you're going to be completing the case studies, you have to, again, go back to this PowerPoint and follow the proper formula for calculations. Again, we determine if the male is a medium, small, or large frame by the wrist circumference again. If we measure 7 inches circumference of the wrist, the male's a medium frame. If it's under 7 inches, small frame, over 7 inches, large frame. Again, like the female, we can look at cheekbone, we can look at shoulder expansion, we can look at, just their overall, and you can generally tell if a guy, females, if they're large frame, they're kind of like this, I would definitely give them a large frame. And I'm going like this because they're built. Let's put it that way. They're built. We have females that are built, okay? I generally would give that female a large frame. And some people get insulted when I tell them they're large frame. They interpret it as I'm telling them they're overweight or they're, no, your frame is your frame. That's your bone structure. Some people are just more muscular. It could be genetic, but many times it's because you use your muscles. If you work those muscles, you will build muscle. So athletes, just people that are involved in just resistant exercise on a regular basis, they develop a larger frame. And that's a good thing because that muscle mass increases your metabolic rate. So I have to constantly remind myself, you gotta exercise because you wanna maintain your lean muscle mass so your metabolic rate will, kick in and stay constant. The more body fat you have, it lowers your metabolic rate. That's why people that are overweight, obese, struggle so to lose weight. The more body fat you have, you develop insulin resistance. And when you're insulin resistant, that also causes you to gain weight and it makes it difficult to lose weight. So all of this is in your last few chapters that are assigned in this class. So read. You have your outlines available, but a lot of what I'm discussing now is in your readings. Now, going back, let's use an example of a male. Let's say that male is 5'10". So for the first 5 feet, 106 pounds. And then he's 10 inches over 5 feet. 10 times 6 is 60. So 166 pounds for a medium frame. If he is a small frame, we're going to subtract 10%, and let's round that 16.6 to just 17. So we take 166 minus 17, 149 if he's a small frame. If he's a large frame, the 166 plus 17, 183 pounds. Does everybody see how I calculated ideal body weights? Any questions? I believe the next slide gives you an example. Yes, we do have a male who's 70 inches. So therefore, he is, he's considered to be 6 feet would be, oh, let me see. Yeah, he's 5'10". So this is that 5'10" example, same one we just used, all right? They didn't round the 16.6 to 17. They just left it as the 16.6. I just said you can round it up, all right? So again, this is that male, he's a large frame, 70 inches, which is 5 feet 10. Here's a female who's 5'4", 5'4". So again, 100 pounds, 4 times 5, 120. So at a medium frame, 120, she's small frame, so you're subtracting 10%, you're subtracting 12 pounds, 108. So again, you have your example to also look at. Now, that's ideal body weight. Again, I calculate ideal body weights, but it's not a good indicator. It really isn't. We need, now, before I move to usual body weight, I can also calculate someone's percent ideal body weight. What is their current weight? So let's say that that female that's 5'2", okay, and she's a medium frame, meaning that she would have been, help me out, 110 pounds, 110 pounds. Her current weight is 125. So 125 divided by 110, her percent usual body weight is 1.1. Well, that's not the percent. Your calculation would be 1.136 times 100, 113.6%, and I may round that to 114. So that means she's 14% over her ideal body weight. She's 114%. Okay? So percent ideal body weight, if someone's, if they're young and I feel that their ideal body weight is a good indicator and I want to use that ideal body weight as part of my assessment, I would take their current weight and put it over their ideal body weight and calculate a percent ideal body weight. But it's only if the ideal body weight is going to be used as part of the assessment, because it's not realistic for everybody to use their ideal body weight. Now, percent usual body weight is very, very important. Percent usual body weight, because as a dietitian, this would be an indicator if there were some unplanned changes in their health, meaning that they did not intentionally gain weight or lose weight. Now, when I calculate their percent usual body weight, I will see that their current weight is not close to what their usual body weight is, showing that they gained or they lost weight. And of course, I would ask, how did you lose your weight, whatever. And then we start discovering that they did it intentionally. And then we'll talk about how they went around about losing weight, but if they lost weight and it was unintentional, and it happens with a lot of diseases. It happens with diabetes. Typically, if someone's glucose level has been elevated for a period of time, they will lose weight. They go into ketosis and they start burning fat. And it's unintentional. They're still eating. So they'll typically say, oh, I'm still eating, but I'm losing weight. They'll have an appetite and they're eating, but they're still losing weight. And if I pick up on that weight loss, and of course I calculate their percent usual body weight, it's that percentage of change. Think of percent usual body weight as picking up on weight change. And weight change is very important when we're assessing someone. So let's take this female whose current body weight, let's say we said her current body weight was 125, and her usual body weight is 125, let's say her usual body weight is 150, okay? 150. So I would put her current body weight of 125 divided by the 150. That means she has lost weight. And if you go times 100, she is 83%. 83%. And that means that she has lost, what about, help me out, 17% of her weight. Okay. So usual body weight is very, very important, more so than ideal body weight. This is using Harris-Benedict. Now we have different formulas, so I'm not gonna, have you use 3 and 4 different formulas. Basically, all of our formulas want weight in kilograms and height in centimeters. So first of all, you've got to learn how to convert your pounds to kilograms and your inches to centimeters. So let's, and you see we have a separate, different formula for men and women. So let's say that it is a female, and it's that same female that's 5'2", all right? And her current weight is 125, current weight 125. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert her weight in pounds to kilograms. Divide by 2.2, write this in your notes. If you don't know how to convert pounds to kilograms, you take the weight in pounds and divide it by 2.2. So the 125 divided by 2.2, it would be 56.818, 56.82. You have to watch rounding, because the more you round, it's going to change your end result. So I would go ahead and round it to 56.82. So we can write that down. The 56.82, that's her weight in kilograms. And her height is 5'2". We convert that to inches first, 62 inches, because 5 feet is 60 inches. She's 2 inches over 62 inches. How do you convert inches to centimeters? Write this down. Times 2.54. Inches times 2.54 will convert to centimeters. So again, she's 62 inches times 2.54. She is 157.48 centimeters. Any questions? So you have to convert weight to kilograms and convert inches to centimeters. And you then work within. So you go 13.75. I would just go ahead and just round it to 13.75 times her weight in kilograms, which is 56.82. So I would write that number down. Then I would take her height in centimeters, which is 157.48 times 5. And I would write that number down. Then I would add up 66.4730 plus her weight, that number that I calculated. And then I would add that other number. So you're adding up the 3 sets of numbers. Then she doesn't have an age. Let's say that she's 25. All right. So the 6.755 times 25. We would take that number and subtract it from her her total of her initial number, and this would be her basal calories. The calories that she, oh, I'm using the male formula here. Sorry about that. All right. So female, again, it would be the 9.56 times her 56.82. Don't make that mistake, okay? And then her height in centimeters, the 157.48 times the 1.85. And then her age, 4.67. 56 if you want to use all the numbers times the 25. So you must get your calculations inside the brackets here. Okay, so you work inside first and get all your numbers. You can get all your numbers. You add up your 3 sets of numbers and you subtract that number based on her age. The male, you would just follow that male formula. Just remember that the weight in pounds have to be converted to kilograms. The height in inches have to be converted to centimeters. Again, these are basal calories, the calories needed when the body's at rest. And when your body's at rest, you're still burning calories. Your heart's beating, all of your organs are functioning, okay? When you're asleep, you're still burning calories. You actually burn a little bit more when you're resting because you start burning, you burn a little bit more fat as basal calories when you're at rest. That's why we tell people get plenty of rest. I don't want people to now say, oh, I got to sleep more. About a good 8 hours of sleep each night, okay, is about what you need. Now, we have to add activity calories. Activity calories are not carved in stone. I don't give a high activity factor. The average person, I give about 1.3. If someone's relatively sedentary, I give them a 1.2. I give the typical person that's up, walking around, working, going to work, climbing some stairs if they're available. I give them about a 1.3, maybe a 1.4. Seldom a 1.5 unless you're hitting the gym on a regular basis. You're taking a planned walk most days of the week. I might pump you to maybe a 1.5. You have to remember the higher your activity factor, it's going to add more calories. And you don't want to give someone too many calories for physical activity that they're really not, they're not using. I know my activity is different every day. Some days I say, boy, I got to work out today. I cleaned the house and then I went outside and I worked in my garden and then I went to the store and I walked around ShopRite and I had to unload the groceries. You've had those days when you said, boy, did I get a workout today. Maybe you went to gym, maybe you did. Maybe you went to the gym and got a real good workout, but I can get some real workouts just by cleaning and by doing clothes and oh my gosh, we can go on and on. So, but do I do that every day? I wish, okay, I would get a real good workout 7 days a week. But again, going back to physical activity, we don't go too high unless you are an athlete and you are training and you just train a lot. I would give you a much higher look. Very heavy exercise twice per day, extra heavy workouts. I don't have anyone that I give a 1.9. I do have dietitians that I know are sports dietitians. They definitely would have individuals that would need that high factor. You take the basal calories times the activity factor. So you always put a 1 in front of it, which will add the basal calories and add 2% no, point is a 0.2%. 0.2%. This is adding almost another percentage, a 1.9. All right. Let's go over basal body mass index, BMI. You take that weight in kilograms, So we already said that this female was 56.82 and that her height in centimeters was a 157.48. To convert centimeters to meters, you just move the decimal point over 2 places, and it would be a 1.5748. But you can also take the height in inches, which was 62. 62 times 0.0254. So again, if you take the 62 times 0.0254, you will get a 1.5748. So you can do it 2 ways. If you have the height in centimeters, you move the decimal point over two spots. But if you have the height in inches times 0.0254, okay? Any questions? I've been pouring out a lot of numbers here. Now, once you have that weight in kilograms over height in meters, you've got to square it. And squaring is multiplying times itself. So the 1.5748 times 1.5748 would be a 2.479. And you place the 56.82, which is the weight in kilograms, over the height meters squared, which is a 2.479. And when you divide the 56.82 by the 2.479, the BMI is a 22.9. So this person's almost a 23, which is a healthy BMI, by the way. It's considered to be healthy. In your textbook, in your chapter, it will talk about BMI. If someone's underweight, their BMI is less than an 18.5. Write this down. BMI underweight less than 18.5. A healthy BMI is between an 18.5 and a 24.99. So this young lady, her BMI is a 22.9. We can round it to a 23. She's within a healthy BMI. If someone's overweight, their BMI is a 25 to a 29.99. 25 to a 29.99. They're overweight. Obese is a 30 plus, greater than a 30 BMI. Morbidly obese is a 40. But you will read textbooks, studies after studies, underweight, less than an 18.5. Again, healthy body, 18.5 to a 24.99. Overweight, a 25 to a 29.99. Obese, a 30 plus. And if somebody's morbidly obese, they're typically a 40 or a 40 and over. Okay, so that's how you calculate BMIs. BMIs, again, are not realistic for everyone. Not an athlete because of the additional muscle mass. Not necessarily realistic for someone who's a very large frame. Okay. Elderly people that have lost lean muscle mass, again, not typically a good indicator, but we use BMIs. But we use BMIs in conjunction with other measurements. And that makes it more realistic. It makes it more accurate to use that BMI if you bundle it with another indicator. Another indicator could be the waist circumference. And some of you are aware that measuring your waist circumference can be a good indicator also. Female waist circumference, if it is over 35 inches, that is an indicator that there is excessive fat around the abdomen. Females over 35 inches. Males over 40 inches. Okay, so if I have a female whose BMI is a 30 and her waist circumference is a 36, 37, then I'll say, wow, she's obese. Okay, those are so you bundle, you look at more than one factor. Okay, because remember, this weight consists of muscle, bone structure, and of course fat, but we're focusing on that excessive fat. That is a health issue. So measuring the waist circumference would be a good indicator. Therefore, central obesity, excessive fat around the trunk of the body, also called upper body fat. This increases your risk for cardiovascular disease, along with having a overweight or an obese BMI. We measure waist circumference. That visceral fat, the fat stored within the abdominal cavity associated with internal organs, as opposed to fat stored directly under the skin, which is your subcutaneous fat. So we look at the location of fat on the body. That's another measurement, another indicator. Physical examination is one of the steps that we add to our nutritional assessment. So when we look at nutritional assessment, we are going to do an intake. I think we talked about intake. Let me see. We'll review them, okay? So physical examination, generally our nurses, our physicians do a very, very thorough, accurate physical examination. But dietitians do physical examinations also. A dental hygienist does a physical examination. You're examining the mouth, the tongue, you know, I know that much. You examine, you generally don't examine the lower part of the body, you stay within that upper part, but you're examining. So when it comes to teeth and gums, look at this, how important it is to have that assessment. Their tongue, you examine the tongue. So definitely a dental hygienist could give us some very good, physical examination information that as a dietitian, I could use in my assessment. But yes, I can examine the hair, I can look at their eyes, and I could go through every indicator that would be signs of being unhealthy or healthy when it comes to hair, eyes. You would definitely learn about teeth and gums. I would look at the face. I already talked about the cheekbone. If around that area there's no muscle and there's just cheekbone and there's just the temporal bone and just the jawbone, that person definitely, that's a sign of malnutrition. They've lost their muscle mass. So yeah, face is very important. The glands, where you go under here and you check the, thyroid here. Tongue, you have the person, stick out their tongue. Skin is very important. Any skin breakdown, any rashes, any lesions, cuts, bruises, all of those would be part of assessment. Nails, I look at the nails, and if the nails are cupped, meaning they're very scooped, that may be a sign of iron deficiency, but we do look at nails. Behavior, oh my gosh, there's a lot of behavioral signs, a person being depressed, being anxious, angry, we can go on and on. Behavior is a part of our assessment. Internal systems, and of course, muscles and bones, and that's definitely part of a physical examination when it comes to a dietitian. So I typically look at hair, eyes, teeth, gums, face, tongue, skin, nails. Yes, I do address their behavior. And again, behavior is something that I may not always pick up on all behaviors. Nurses typically say, oh, all the clients are so well behaved with you. So the nurse sort of gives me another side of that person. I know. And the nurse sits in, and sometimes I look over her face and she's like, I can't believe this person's a totally different person. So again, sometimes they misbehave for me. Sometimes they do, but a lot of times they're on their best behavior. And of course, muscles and bones, I will focus quite a bit on that. So physical examination, very important part of our assessment. Laboratory values. This is a presentation in itself. I just gave a presentation on reading and interpreting your blood work back in April, and it was pretty extensive, as showing, what the normal blood lipid values are, and if they're abnormal, what that basically could, how you would interpret that. Blood glucose, we think of someone living with diabetes, either, they have hyper or hypoglycemia. Just going back to the blood lipids, cholesterol levels, total cholesterol, elevated, LDL, low HDLs, triglyceride levels. Those are typically what we look at with the blood lipids. Vitamin and mineral status, we can, again, all of this is analyzed in the blood, and we can see the level of folic acid, level of B12. We can, some of our vitamins are flushed out in our urine. Remember we learned that? But if we have any stored vitamins in our body, we can get a reading on vitamin D, vitamin A, we can get a reading on. Mineral, because minerals are stored in the body, we can definitely get an reading of hemoglobin, hematocrit, iron levels, calcium. So again, potassium, okay, levels, we can get a reading of, and we can go on because minerals are stored in the body. And all of that can be connected with a disease process if it's too low or elevated. These are our different types of deficiencies. Primary deficiencies, that's a nutritional deficiency that developed because the dietary intake of the nutrient is inadequate. So yes, primary meaning that if we identify which nutrient is lacking, we add that nutrient to their diet. Typically, we can correct that deficiency. Secondary deficiency is a nutrient deficiency that develops because the body's handling of that nutrient is inadequate. So you have organs that are not functioning properly. Kidney would be a prime example of being our body's filtering of our blood, filters the blood. And if the kidneys are not filtering the blood adequately, then what's going to go back into circulation would be additional fluid. So they're going to retain fluid in the body. They can retain sodium in the body, retain potassium in the body, because the kidneys are not filtering out the excessive, waste that's in the blood. So that would be considered secondary deficiency. Subclinical deficiency, a nutrient deficiency in early stages before the outward signs have appeared. What can I use as an example of subclinical deficiency? Subclinical deficiency could be protein deficiency, okay? A person is not consuming an adequate amount of protein on a daily basis. Deficiency in early stages might be that their hair starts to be easily plucked. That happens in about 60 to 90 days of not getting adequate protein in your diet. Meaning when you run your fingers through your hair, you actually pull out strands, and that end of the strand, I call it a little tip. That means it came out by the root. Okay, that could be an indicator, early sign of not getting enough protein. Now, that's before the outward signs appear. Outward signs would be that person might have a wound that does not properly heal because of lack of protein. That wound may get infected because protein is needed to build those antibodies to fight infection. So if you go back to all of our nutrients and look at those functions, and if those functions aren't occurring, then yes, those would be outward signs that they are deficient in that nutrient, okay? This is just giving us some examples of iron deficiency anemia. So this is one of the minerals that would show up early, very early. So you could be iron deficient, and it would take only a week or two, very short. We could check your blood, and we would see that your hemoglobin or hematocrit levels are low. So this occurs relatively quick. It's just like, God forbid, you have an accident and you lose a lot of blood. By the time you get to that emergency room, they take blood work, your iron level is already low. Your hemoglobin, your hematocrit level is already low. Okay, so again, that's just a prime example. When they give you a blood transfusion, they have to give you blood right away. So this is nutrition diagnoses. I'm not going to really go through this because this would typically be for my dietetic majors, because I teach them about nutrition diagnoses. So once the complete assessment is done, we can determine what the nutrition problem is. We can come up with a nutrition diagnosis. Earlier, I mentioned that if someone's kidneys are not functioning properly, this it can be a secondary deficiency. Secondary, and for example, for a dialysis patient, the medical diagnoses would be renal failure, but the nutrition diagnoses would be excessive intake of potassium. So nutrition diagnoses are not medical diagnoses at all, at all. Medical diagnoses would be renal failure. Nutrition diagnoses would be excessive intake of potassium, meaning that we have to lower the potassium in their diet because their kidneys are not filtering the potassium out of the body. It's going back into circulation, elevated potassium levels in the blood, okay? So that was an example. Once we come up with that nutrition diagnosis, we come up what we call a PES statement. P, problem, E, etiology, S, signs and symptoms. So the problem would be the excessive potassium intake. It would be related to kidney dysfunction, as evidenced by, I would write down the potassium level, indicating the potassium level is high. So that is typically a very simple PES statement: excessive potassium intake related to renal dysfunction as evidenced by high potassium level. Okay. This again, a little bit more about our PES statement. We still use the SOAP. SOAP stands for subjective, objective. A is the assessment, P is the plan. And we, in some of our settings, we use the ADI, which is the assessment, diagnosis, and intervention. So again, when you get into your the dental program, you will have a very similar assessment process. I know our nurses assessment process, very similar to the nutrition assessment. It's just that we focus on different areas, but we all work together, okay? The nurse would pick up elevated glucose levels and so forth. We just make sure that our plan of care is a team effort. Dental hygienist, definitely a part of the team when it comes to any teeth or gum, problems. Okay, so I'm going to end it there, but let me see if I can get in here. I have a feeling I probably can't, but I never ever give up. Nope, don't want to go there. Let me try it one more time. Oh, and our time is up. Okay. If you want to participate in the extra credit, it is open in Canvas assignments. There's a case study for Elizabeth, and there's a case study for Matt. You would have to complete both case studies. You can print the case study out and calculate it by hand, and then you can take a photograph of it, upload it in Canvas assignments to get that extra credit, okay? Other than that, I have gone over nutrition assessment, okay? And, if you ever need to be aware of it in practice, you can utilize some of that information, but you would also see how it relates to what you assess as a dental hygienist. Very, very, very close. We work very closely together. Many of you will see me again because we do a interprofessional collaboration between the dietetic technology program and the dental hygiene program. So as you continue through the dental hygiene program, that's part of your program that you will have at least one assignment that's joint with dietetic technology majors. Okay, it's required by our accrediting body that we, as a student, you learn how to assess collaboratively with another professional. Okay, any questions? This is our last meeting. And again, I will go in here again and see if I can, let me see. All right, let me go out of this and see if I can, I'm out of time, but okay. Let's see if I can get in here now. This has been quite crazy. No, I'm still not loading. Has anybody tried to get into Canvas on your computer? It could be that Canvas is down.
I had trouble getting in for a while, but I just recently was able to get in.
Oh,
but I wasn't able to
okay.
get in earlier.
See, yeah, it's on the college side, and I'm still not getting in. See that? It's still loading. I have to apologize for not being able to get into Canvas. Any questions? Questions at all? I have a lot of grading to do, okay? So frequently visit Canvas. Frequently, you go to that grade area and you'll see where I transferred your Pearson Mastering Nutrition grade from there to your Canvas grading system. So you'll see all your grades being transferred in. I double check them. Every once in a while, I might make a little oops, but before I calculate final, I do a double check around, okay? make sure that I transferred all the grades from Pearson into the Canvas grading program accurately. You can always email me if you have any questions, concerns. Typically, I get back to you relatively quickly. Some of you have emailed, you know, a couple of times this semester. Any questions? Wow. All right. Yeah, I've enjoyed the class. Many of you have attended on a weekly basis. I definitely have gotten to know Margaret and Brandon and Nancy and Megan. Let me see who else is present. Yeah, this is my usual crew here. Yun generally always attends. We have a small group today. But again, I do take the Zoom and I will have it up for those who did not attend. And hopefully they, if they want, they can, you know, earn that extra credit if they feel that they want to boost their grade a little bit more. It's actually a lot more. Getting 3 extra points to your final numerical grade, that's hard to do if you took tests or projects and so forth. So that's really a nice bonus if you need that. So I'm gonna let everyone go because I'm behind on time. Take care. Email me at any time, okay? My email stays the same, and if you need anything, have any questions, let me know. I enjoyed each and every one of you over the semester. Good luck with you're applying to the dental hygiene program, and take care.
Bye, thank you.
Bye,
Stay
bro.
well.
Stay well as well.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.